Jamin Moore here with Carl Carpenter from StatsBomb. Carl is a tactical and video analyst with StatsBomb. We're here to talk a bit about DC United. The upcoming match between the San Jose Earthquakes and the United is at 8 p.m. at PayPal Park on Saturday. Carl, thank you for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about DC United. I mean, basically your childhood team. You actually went to DC United games as a child. What have you seen so far in what Hernan Losada is going to bring compared to what fans have seen before with Ben Elsin? What kind of team are we looking at here?
Yeah, so Losada is a very big departure, and I think it's an intentional departure from what Ben Elsin had the DC United players doing recently in recent seasons. Ben Elsin was very much a deep block sort of defensive team, while Losada likes to get in your face, press really high, and with the ball they like to transition quickly to attack, scoring a lot of goals in transition and being generally very up-tempo. A lot of verticality in their attacks rather than looking to regain the ball and keep possession. They look to go and find the furthest pass forward.
And there's been a bit of noise in the league about, Losada being a coach that is going to bring a Bielsa type style to the league. But quite frankly, he seems quite different in his philosophies than Matias Almeyda. What do you see as being the same, and what do you see as being very different?
I think the energy that he brings defensively in terms of pressing is certainly Bielsa, and there are some elements certainly in the midfield about some situational man marking, which obviously Quakes fans are well aware of, and the advantages and disadvantages of man marking. But I think like another recent addition to MLS with Gabriel Heinze at Atlanta, the attacking principles are very, very different in terms of the Bielsa sort of ball. I would say that Losada ball is a little bit closer to Jurgen Klopp's style of play, especially when he was at Dortmund and early years at Liverpool. Very, very quick in transition with lots of vertical runners, like I said, and not as intricate in terms of rotations and individual player movements like a Bielsa team.
One of the things that the Quakes have faced for the last 2 weeks has been a high press. It didn't go so well in the Houston game. Matias Almeyda talked about that this was largely due to a very shortened preseason for the team, not facing any MLS competition during the preseason. And he says that the team is having to figure it out over the last couple of games. He thought they did a bit better against FC Dallas. So since they've already faced 2 high presses, both of which have frustrated them a bit, particularly in the early parts of the game, and both of which, created a good bit of danger. What do you see as being the same or different in terms of the press that we expect DC United to bring on Saturday?
I think one of the big things that we saw, especially with the match against Houston Dynamo, is that early pressure targeted in wide areas. So when the first ball goes into that wide area, Losada teams really like to trap opponents in those wide areas. And with the 5 at the back, it's 5 at the back rather than most teams where it's like a 3 at the back, but you do have a lot of flexibility there. The back 5 gives them that ability to really, really stress those wide areas, let that wing back go forward and jump the ball, the fullback in possession, and trap them there. With the 2 center forwards, one usually pivots across into that wide area to help trap the press, while the other center forward pivots down and blocks any switches of play. I would say that's a really big similarity that the Quakes faced some issues with in the past. And some of the differences I would say are, I think that some of the teams, I think FC Dallas was a good proponent of this, was they like to sort of bait the opposition into that pressing system. So let them move the ball side to side and then jump it when it gets on that second directional pass. Losada teams, basically anytime the ball goes into a wide area, it's a trap and press.
And so if you're Matias Almeyda, how do you deal with this type of trapping press? It looked like Florian Jungwirth in particular struggled with this type of press against FC Dallas last week, hitting balls out of play. If you're Matias, how do you make adjustments to this?
Yeah, one of the simple ways that you can avoid getting bogged down by high pressure is by denying the players who are pressing you access. And that either means by moving the ball quickly out of that area where you can be pressed, either by just hitting balls into the channels early, which is different than obviously just thumping it long every single time. Cade Cowell is a great player into the channel, so using his physicality and ability on the run is a good way to do that. And as well is once you get into compressed areas of the pitch, make sure that players are support and able to link play to switch play quickly. So when you do get that ball into the wide areas, which inevitably will happen in the scheme of a match, having players come across the central midfield to help link play and then release the ball quickly to the other side is a good way, and just essentially not letting them apply that pressure at all.
One more question, and let's make it about the attack. So DC United struggled offensively last week to get anything going on the road against the New England Revolution. But of course, they were missing 11 players for that particular game. Maybe at this point, we don't know who they're going to get back. It's still midweek. But, what are your thoughts in terms of what you've seen from the attack so far from Losada's side?
Yeah, I would say that the attack pretty much has been anemic, and that's a lot of that obviously has to do with the fact that they have a lack of availability of numbers. Their XG per shot is currently at 0.05, which is at the bottom ranking team in MLS. They're only getting about 8 shots on target, shots at all in a match. Set pieces, they've been very, very anemic as well. And I don't think much is going to be able to change in that sense against the New York City FC. They were able to score a lot of their chances through second balls and just broken down plays, and obviously some wonder strikes in there too with the 2 set piece goals. But against New England, they looked very poor and were able to string any passes together to actually find the center forward's feet or find a midfielder who can actually link play together. So I think it'll be very much a disjointed attacking performance. It's just the Quakes can't beat themselves in that sense.
Right. And the Quakes, as we know, have struggled with set pieces, and that type of breakdown, might be something to watch very carefully. They're going to have to stay alert after those initial balls get cleared out of the box, because that's where DC United was able to be successful against New York City FC. Carl, thank you so much for joining us here today for a tactical talk about DC United and the upcoming game against the San Jose Earthquakes at PayPal Park, 8 p.m. on Saturday. And we're excited to have you as part of our Quakes Epicenter team. So thank you for being a part of the team this season. And we'll look forward to talking with you again. Take care.
Thank you.